Just doing it. Now I feel conscious and it's not so much fun.
Jeanne!
First edition last year of Kyta has been kind of expanded into a 5-year plan to work in Kalga. The larger idea is just to kind of pin it on the global map as a destination to produce art. This year the challenge is to create a feature-length film, and that is a huge ask, which is kind of showing already in the intensity that we've been experiencing every day with the group. The people situation is also kind of different, because last year we had artists from 6 different countries, 5 from India and 5 from other parts of the world, and this year it's an Indo-French collaboration. A story that has been built by all the 10 artists in a way. Some were happy with it, some were not very happy with it, but in a way that's how things have to work when you have 10 minds working together. Everything is now beginning to start happening in parallel, where there will be costume development, character development, and of course, the principal photography itself.
I know each one of them now, and I'm so interested to see how their personalities are going to mix, because it's going to be really interesting. Their qualities are really varied, so the end product is bound to be really startling, I think. Everybody's gotten used to each other, and that's the toughest thing is over now, and now the exciting part starts.
Somehow people are running short of places where they can do things without getting interrupted,
Right.
and with surroundings like these. So fantastic. I mean, the only way I see this going is it's just gonna expand. I mean, just for tourism's sake, a lot of people can come and go, but I think, as a platform, because I think it's like a lot of people love photography, a lot of people love music, right? Sometimes it just doesn't happen that you can read online and so on and so forth, but when you see the process, I think it's a completely different perspective. So.
And if we jump,
maybe it can just look like danger.
Should I blow it?
yeah, put a small stone.
I'm dirty.
1 second, just...
You shouldn't have showered.
I can have 2. Yeah, now you can.
Okay.
काफ़ी चेंजिंग आ गई है यहाँ पे, और काफ़ी लोग भी आने शुरू हो गए, जैसे लास्ट ईयर हुआ था.
The nature and so on and the space is exactly what I thought. It's really beautiful here, so that's nice. It's a good environment for that. I expected it to be as chaotic as it has been with the artists. It took a long time for us to get to know each other. Actually, a lot more than I expected was spent on that, and a very short period on the actual now planning. And on the personal experience, I think I'm just here like more as a team player, so I'm not trying to defend any specific idea. There are people who have more set ideas as what they want to do, and I'm here just to support that.
I love very much the crew here, how they are cooking for us, and everybody. It's so lovely, the people here. That's what impressed me a lot, how they are living here in this cold. I imagine myself, how can they survive? I really needed my heater. 2 cultures, Europe and India, needed this, that you brought visitors who are really working very contemporary.
When the actual process starts, I think we'll be more inclined towards listening to each other in a conscious and subconscious ways.
This is my second time in Parvati Valley, and I've never been to Kalga though before, and living here, I'm sure he'll show you some shots of the place. Just living here is, it's a dream. I mean, it really is a dream. It seems like a dream, at least. Beautiful open space, seeing the sky, which I'm not used to coming from Bombay, or seeing so much of it rather, and the weather. I personally really enjoy the cold, so I've had a great time here. the place I come from and the school of thought I come from is a little different from most of the conceptual artists here. But that's what I was looking forward to try and see if I can find my way of work even in a setting like this and try and apply what little I know to a setting like this. Because I'm used to obviously having things much more fixed. I know what my target is when I have a story, what I need to achieve. Here it's a little more ambiguous. Even the time isn't as much as I would have, in any other setups. So it pulls you out of your comfort zone, and I think that's always good.
The scenery is great, but in terms of artistic, it's limited. So that's the good thing I liked about this residency. That the sources are limited. What I like about this particular residency than the first you did is it was quite open-ended. So it was like a normal residencies which happens. But I like that the output has to be one film. Otherwise we always work in our studios, like individuals. So it is not such a great problem to work on individual level. Any artist can go anywhere. They don't need a group residency. They can have an individual residency. But the best part of this residency, we were forced to, there were clashes and egos and all, but it's bounded to happen. But then it's all about the result, the collaboration.
This is my first experience with the residency ever. I've always wanted to do one. Of course, I got on board pretty late in this case, so I couldn't really be a full-time resident, which I would love to have done. But this was a good 10-12 days to kind of see how things work and how artists come together from various disciplines. I think it's quite an ambitious and challenging project, which is exciting. And to see from an outsider's perspective, just seeing how so many different ideas kind of filter down to something that everybody take into consideration, everybody's objections or suggestions or whatever it is, and finally filters down, and there's a collective energy that's really interesting to see. It's just a good, positive, nurturing environment. So if Kalga does become an art village like that, I think it's definitely something that should happen.
Interacting with other artists has just been an eye-opener completely especially for me, because in terms of coming up with the concept and the story, there are so many ends, so many approaches, so many different points of view that need to kind of assimilate at one particular merging point, and just arriving at that point has been quite an experience for me. It is to kind of have a very, very minimal crew and coming up with very minimal stories and doing it in a completely fictional approach. That is what I would really like to do, and Kalga seems to be the perfect setting for many of the stories that I have in mind. Tomorrow onwards we can start shooting the legend, so I've spoken to Marielle about it. If she can write the legend firstly, then we can quickly do a short breakdown as to how we need to treat it visually and get into the shoot for that right away from tomorrow onwards. So there's a certain tension, there's a certain hope, there's also a man's ascension to power, it's also the coming of a community, so there are contrasts.
I have some powder.
Dalgona powder doesn't stay, it goes off.
Karan? You need.
It's just all that is light.
What are you cooking, man? What are you cooking?
Chinese food. A lot of the conversations that I had this time with some of the artists who are here, some of the people who have visited, some of the visiting artists, and they all seem to buy into the whole idea of the 5-year project. Even the community seems to see that, the impact of something like what we're trying to do. I mean, it's, of course, for them it's tourism, but they really enjoy the kind of tourism that Kyta seems to bring together, the kind of people and in the way they integrate and interact with the whole community. So even from that perspective, things have become really, really interesting, and a lot of the founding ideologies of the whole project seem to be getting verified over here, over this particular edition, and I'm quite sure and I'm quite positive that over the coming years this is only going to grow. But this year it might be easier because we'd given them a definitive goal,
but wow, it was amazing. I mean, the energy that was there for the first 3 days that I was here when the discussion sessions were happening. Wow, the intensity of those was way, way, way beyond what any of the discussions that were there last year.
For me, it was good because I have a particular place because I was writing the project, so not the project but the text in the project, the legend and blah blah blah. And after when we work together, it's sometimes okay, sometimes we are fight, but it's normal because we are 10 artists with 10 egos. So
village which is so far away from the cities where the understanding of modern or contemporary art and art practices itself is a completely alien subject. Artists from various backgrounds coming together, experiencing a new place, which has its own diversities, material, and using the available resources to understand and respond to a context is, I think, a very interesting exercise. Mostly I paint on walls and explore other experimental surfaces. So for me, when Shazib sent pictures of these works, it was a surface I had never explored or even looked at as a new medium. There is no serious logic behind these drawings, but just an act of intervention in a space like this. And I've tried to make these drawings on the road which I was taking. It also made me understand the space in a way. So I was getting lost initially to find my way somewhere, but because of these confusing marks, I'm able to find my way.
For the masks that we made, we had very limited resources for material, and everything we used was from the forest. So I think when it comes to exploring different materials that we wouldn't actually use otherwise, it was great to find things here to use. We were different towards each other during work hours and different towards each other post-8 when everyone was hanging out. So it was great in a way that no one held on to things that we discussed and work and disagreed upon. So I felt like in that sense people were very mature and kept both relationships separate, because it gets so hard because we're living together and we're in each other's faces all day long.
I'm really impressed with where it went and how quick we managed to get there. I mean, everyone comes from such different backgrounds and has so many ways of thinking and seeing things. I mean, all the conversations that we've had have been really constructive, and I think it's gone really fast and really well. And yeah, I can't really think of anything right now that you'd have to change.
We completely changed our way of life when we came here to make a residency here, because it's really, really different of the other residency and really far from the rest of the world. We talk about Himalayas, and so we have an experience really different of the other residency and the other way of working in our own life. Like, for example, we have movie makers and stylists and actors, and it's really different art education. And so it was quite complicated at the beginning to build a common project, but I'm quite proud of what we did. Also, I think it's really good to mix two countries, for this year, this France and India. And so we have a connection between French people. We met the Indian people, they have their own culture, and the mix of two cultures is really interesting.
I don't like city life, and I want a village life. And I think this village is very special.